Alternative development timeline of the Nintendo Switch 3. Before we get into this timeline, I'm gonna no longer use the Eric text-to-speech voice, because the website that has the voice, redloud.net, has gotten infected with malware again. This is the second time the site has gotten hacked, so I'm gonna try this new voice. This is significantly deeper than before, not just longer. Nintendo Switcheroo. Early external rumor name, Nintendo Switch 3. Codename, NX-OMA. Phase 0, Long-Range Vision Seeding. September 2025. Nintendo concludes internal Switch 2 long horizon planning, years ahead of release. Executive leadership requests a document titled, What Comes After Hybrid? Core fears identified. Switch lineage risks becoming predictable. Competitors catching up on portability. Loss of Nintendo's hardware surprise identity. Person, Blue Sky Group, is formed inside EPD Technology Development. Hard rule established. No assumption that the next system must look like a Switch. Phase 1. Deep Conceptual Exploration. October 2025, September 2026. October 2025. Strategic Autopsy and Deconstruction. Engineers and planners dissect. Wii U transition mistakes. DS, 3DS success factors. Switch's modular simplicity. A key internal conclusion. The Switch succeeded because it felt like multiple devices pretending to be one. First philosophical pillar defined. Multiplicity without fragmentation. Hardware team begins cataloging. Controller surface underuse. Latent demand for second screen mechanics. November 2025. Form factor extremes. Weekly No Bad Ideas design summits begin. Concepts explored in parallel. Folding OLED tablets. Detachable display tiles. Radial and polygonal displays. Triangle screen gains traction due to symbolic break from rectangles. Natural division into UI zones. Non-orthogonal UI grids. Rotational HUDs. Early third controller sketches appear, labeled Auxiliary Input Device. December 2025, the second screen returns. Retrospectives on Wii U re-evaluated with modern tech assumptions. A decisive reframing occurs. The problem wasn't the second screen, it was where it lived. Breakthrough proposal. Controller equals persistent second display. Pro controller mockups include center-mounted touchscreen, split display controller halves, marketing quietly surveys, inventory on controller, map-only second screen, asymmetric local multiplayer. By year's end, leadership allows continued funding. January 2026. Engineering reality check. Hardware feasibility phase begins. Prototype. Magnetic connectors with pogo pin power. High-speed wireless display mirroring. Major risks identified. Battery drain. Latency in competitive games. Joy-Con rail replacement is formally explored. Temporary project label appears in files. Next hybrid architecture. February 2026. Third Joy-Con becomes real. Third controller moves from idea to requirement. Internal name, Joy-Con C. Intended functions, precision input, UI manipulation, optional accessibility controller. Attachment testing, bottom, ergonomics fail. Side, conflicts with Joy-Con LR. Top-mounted magnetic dock chosen. Accessibility team begins parallel studies. March 2026, the triangle decision. Prototype OLED triangle panels. Tested. Findings. Yield rates unacceptable. Cost far exceeds benefit. Decision memo issued. The triangle will live in software, not hardware. Result. Standard rectangular screen retained. Adaptive Geometry UI system greenlit. This becomes a defining OS feature later. April 2026, controller screen breakthrough. Critical milestone. Touchscreen Pro controller demoed wirelessly. Subframe latency achieved. Demo scenario. Mario prototype with controller-based inventory. Executive response unusually enthusiastic. Quote from internal notes. This is the moment the system becomes inevitable. May 2026. Software enters the room. Select software leaders quietly involved. Mario technical directors, Smash input, consultants, system OS architects, Smash team flags, input determinism concerns, tournament viability, OS team drafts, dual display APIs, controller UI sandboxing, project formally renamed internally, NX OMA. June 2026, first true hardware identity. First integrated NX OMA prototype assembled, rectangular tablet, magnetic Joy-Cons, top Joy-Con C dock, controller screen still externally wired. Early thermal tests conducted. Budget increases sharply. Manufacturing feasibility flagged as challenging but viable. July 2026, executive judgment. NX OMA presented to top Nintendo leadership. Live demos include asymmetric multiplayer, dual-screen Mario experiment. Risk acknowledged. Confusion. Verdict. This is worth the risk. Full development date proposed and approved. September 23, 2026. August 2026. Transition to reality. Manufacturing partners briefed under extreme NDA. Silicon partners consulted. Backward compatibility becomes non-negotiable. Marketing instructed to avoid leaks. Prepare multi-year messaging. First external whispers use the name Nintendo Switch 3. September 2026, concept lock early September. Final conceptual lock. Rectangular main display. Touchscreen Pro controller, Joy-Con C as standard. Triangle screen, formally archived. September 23, 2026, full development begins on Nintendo's 137th birthday. NX OA becomes a full production platform. Development 2027, hardware identity forged. Dozens of hardware revisions tested. Magnetic attachment finalized. Controller screen resolution locked. OS architecture rebuilt for multi-display logic, modular inputs, internal mantra, one system, many configurations. 2028, Sakurai moment. Masahiro Sakurai invited to view a prototype. He tests input latency, controller screen Smash UI. Feedback leads to hardware input refinements. Smash-specific OS hooks. Immediately after, development begins on the next Smash Bros. Smash becomes a co-driver of system features. 2029, Dev Kits and Decked. Scale. Developer kits distributed worldwide. Third-party reaction mixed, but intrigued. Smash enters full production. Next 3D Mario, which began early development in 2028, ramps up. Backward compatibility emulation layers refined. 2030, stabilization and naming. Hardware form finalized. Joy-Con C confirmed as pack-in. OS feature set locked. Marketing placeholder name Switcheroo gains internal favor. 2031, the acknowledgement. President Shuntaro Furukawa confirms new hardware publicly. No details shared. Internally, reveal planning accelerates. 2032, the reveal. System officially unveiled as Nintendo Switcheroo. Reveal emphasizes modular magnetics, controller screen, generational unification, teased games, Super Mario Switcheroo, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Plus Deluxe, Unified Switch 1+2 content, enhanced performance and features. 2033, launch. Switcheroo launches worldwide. Positioned as the final form of Nintendo's hybrid philosophy. Seen internally as a culmination, not a sequel.